What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Joe, JH Overcomes, America's friendliest cop. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Friday morning, and it is week 4. Okay, my full fourth week of overcoming COVID, and I say that specifically overcoming, COVID, because that is the goal, that is the plan to get through this thing as easily as possible, even though it hasn't been an easy task and things like that. But I want to let you guys know that it is possible. So come on out. Listen, I want you guys to share this video with people that you know. Afterwards, you can find it on my YouTube page. Afterwards, you can find it on the Facebook page. I want you guys to share this video with people who are either having anxiety about contracting COVID, some people who are actually experiencing COVID themselves, COVID-19, and some people who are, really, really fearful of getting it. And I get it. I get it. There's reasons why. There's a whole lot of things going on in the world right now. Some of us are at an unease when it comes down to things, and when it comes down to the the disease itself, the sickness itself. But I'm here to let you know that you can overcome this and you can beat this. And I'm just living proof. All right. I'm not preaching to you. I'm just speaking from experience. Uh, so listen, Justin, what's going on, brother? How are you? I wanted to talk a little bit this week about how what the fourth week looked like for me. What the fourth week looked like, for some other people that I spoke to also. Some people are getting through it a little bit sooner. Some people are taking a full 4 to 6 weeks, to get over this thing. And I want you guys to know that every situation is going to be different, right? Every situation, I don't want you to gauge your situation on my situation. I don't want you to minimize yours based on, well, Joe overcame it and look at him, he's great, yeah, but there was a whole lot of things behind the scenes that comes with that. So we have to be very careful about how easy we make things look, because when things like that happen, people start to take like I said the other day, they take the foot off the gas, and what happens is we get complacent. We will start to get complacent, and we'll start not doing the right things because we don't take it as serious as it really is. Now, is it starting to come down a little bit? Is it starting to calm down as far as society, as far as the media? Yeah, it is. It is starting to calm down, but it doesn't mean that you have to stop taking the right precautions. It doesn't mean that you stop wearing your mask. It doesn't mean you just run outside and, start licking railings and things like that and everything that goes along with it. You have to be careful about how we address this thing. You know, um, there's some people who have been saying that, some people got hit with a stronger dose of it. Some people got hit with a weaker dose of it, and that's true. Okay, I guess it depends on how your body reacts to things. It depends on, how you handle things when it comes down to being sick. Some people just bounce back super quick, and some people don't. So if you are experiencing COVID-19, if you know somebody who's experiencing COVID-19 and they're stressing over it and they're having some anxiety, or if you're a person who hasn't experienced any of it and you're stressing and having some anxiety over it, just realize that your specific situation is going to be different than everybody else's. Okay, and that's exactly what you have to keep in mind. Now, this week, in my fourth week, I started to realize that I still haven't gotten back my full taste, my full smell, and I guess I realized I didn't get back my full smell when the other day my daughter walked up to me and said, "Daddy, did you take a shower today?" And I guess it's little things like that where you start to realize that, okay, I don't have everything back the way it should be. So what I do is I start to take a step back, realize that it's going to take its own time for different people in different situations. Now, I have spoken to some people who have regained their taste of the sense of smell, their sense of taste. And having spoken to my doctor, she said, "Joe, it'll come back. Just give it some time." And I have faith in that. I do have faith in that because everything else that has gone along the way has been right on clockwork. Every time I researched some information and reached out to somebody, I took it upon myself, realized, okay, Joe, you're right on course. Okay, everything is going according to plan as long as you do the things you're supposed to do, right? So I wanted to touch on that because I don't want people to get complacent. In the world of law enforcement, okay, for all of you law enforcement officers out there, if you get complacent, okay, what happens? Things happen, and bad things usually happen when we get complacent. We may get caught in a bad situation. The bad guy might get the drop on us, or whatever. We may, it could ultimately mean death. Okay, so What I don't want you to do is I don't want you to get complacent with this, but I also don't want you to panic. Okay, remember what we talked about preparing for the worst but expecting the best? Okay, that's what you always have to do when it comes down to life. Always prepare yourself. Always have yourself with the right information. Always have yourself with the right things that you can do. So that way, if the situation pops up, you are ready to handle it the best way you possibly can. Okay, and that's what I'm trying to do for you here. I'm trying to give you some information based on my own personal experience. Okay. I'm not going to give you anything that's clinical. Okay. Anything that a doctor would tell you. But what I'm telling you is my personal experience. This is what happens when you do this. This is what happens when you do this. And I've been able to pass on some of these things. I've been able to, talk to people who have called me, who have reached out to me, who are experiencing symptoms, who have COVID itself. And some of the things that I've given out have worked. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean that every situation is going to work for every single person. So take what you can take from my videos, go do your research online, speak to your doctors, speak to other people who have had COVID or who are experiencing COVID right now, and realize that all those particular situations that you're dealing with, pick and choose of exactly which ones apply to you and what easily works for you and what's going to work for you, because not everything is going to work. And I'll give you an example of that. The I spoke to um, my doctor, and when I first started feeling symptoms, I started taking an antibiotic. Now, yesterday I read online that antibiotics don't work. Okay, for whatever reason, doesn't work with COVID-19. Now, I'm here to say that it worked for me. Okay, it worked for me. So understanding that, just realize that because this thing is so new to everybody. Okay, and I know before all the conspiracy theorists jump on me and say, "Ah, Joe, it's not new. They knew about this. The government knew." Okay, I get it. I get it. I get it. But again, like I said the other day, I'm not really concerned about how it started or where it came from or who did what to give it to us. All I'm saying to you is that it's here now. Now what? How do you fix it? So when I read the article about how antibiotics don't work, I had to take that into consideration and say, well, it worked for me. Okay. And I don't know exactly how that applies to everybody else. Everybody's body is different. Everybody's going to react to different things different ways. So just keep that in mind. Um, I'm going to be doing another video of a list of things that I did, a list of things that'll probably be Monday after I get retested on tomorrow, and I'll get into that in a minute. Um, of certain things that I did because somebody reached out to me and they said to me, Joe, listen, is there a way, and the person was cool about it. He was hitting me with question after question after question after question, and I'm good. I'm okay with that. Please don't get it twisted. I don't mind answering the questions. I always said you can come to me. But the one thing that he said, Joe, maybe you should put together a list of things that you did, things that can help. God bless you, baby. Things that you can do, things that you could, things that you have done, and that way it can help other people. And I said, you know what? It's a good idea. That's exactly what I'll do. I'll put together a list of things that I did, inhaling and the exercises and things like that, and hopefully to help you. But having spoken to different people, I'm hearing the anxiety still come out of people. I'm hearing the anxiety, the fear still come out of people. The other day in the video, we talked about how we don't want to let those fears take us over, right? We don't want to let those fears control us, because what happens is once we start walking in those fears long enough, we start acting it out. We start becoming that fear. You will become what you think about 24 hours a day. So if you think I'm a loser, you're going to be a loser. If you consider saying I'm a drug addict, or my family did this, or my family, or I heard, then this is what you're going to be. You're going to start walking in that. And what's happening right now is a lot of us are walking in that fear, the fear of the unknown. And I get it. I get it. I get it. The fear is very, very real because there's certain things that we don't know. And one of the biggest fears that we have in life is getting sick, is getting ill. Nobody wants to, go to that deathbed ill, or nobody wants to end up in the hospital. And so I get your fears, but what I'm doing here, okay, on these videos is trying to help you to deal with your fear by being a living example. Okay, by being a walking example of what it's like to be able to get through this thing and overcome it. And I have plenty of other people that I'm going to be bringing on probably next week who have also overcome this thing. Now, understand this: there have been some people who have died. Okay. There have been some people who are still on ventilators. There have been some people who are still in the hospital, and there will be more. Okay. I'm not a fool. I realize that there's certain things that are going to happen to certain people, but get the knowledge so that way you can avoid being that person to the best of your ability. Now, I spoke to somebody the other day who said that positivity has something to do with it. Being a positive person, having a good mentality, a good strong base. And that's true. Okay. You guys listen, there's nobody more positive than Joe Hammond. Okay. Do I have my moments? Absolutely. I'm human, you know, but you're not going to find anybody more positive than me. I make it a point to constantly wake up and try to find something positive. Things do hit, things do hurt, but I start to look on the opposite side of things, and that has come from practice over years of time, practice, practice, practice. And I want to say this: being a positive person, being a spiritual person, believing in God is not going to guarantee you that you don't get sick. It's not going to guarantee that you don't have problems and you don't have issues. But what it is going to do, okay, by being positive and being spiritual and having a good foundation and having a good belief system, it's going to help you get through this situation. Okay, just a little bit easier than the next man. It's going to help you deal with it and battle it a little bit easier than the next man. And you need to realize this, that you know I'm not here for the hoopla and to get everybody pumped up. And if you feel like you want to run through a wall after this, then that's fantastic. Okay, then that's great too. But what I want you to realize is that it's a process. It is a process of overcoming certain things in your life. And you're going to realize that without certain elements that go with that process, you're not going to be successful. So you don't want to just jump up and say, I got this, we'll beat this. And there's a process that goes along with that, because you have to start to walk in that process. So being a positive person, having a great, spiritual life, having a great mentality, that's all great in and of it by itself. But once you have to apply it, that's when it becomes a challenge. You have to be able to apply it to your everyday life. And that's exactly what I've been doing throughout this COVID-19 thing. Did I have bad nights? I did. Did I have times when I had some fear about my breathing? I woke up choking, probably 3 or 4 times throughout this whole process. Just woke up in a serious, gasp. But I realized that, listen, your mentality is a lot stronger than that. Get up and do what you're supposed to do and go back to the basics of what you were doing. So with that being said, throughout this week of the fourth week, there was a time when I was doing some cardio and trying to get the lungs right, and I felt a little bit weak in the cardio area. I did. I felt a little bit weak. So what did I do? I pulled back a little bit. This wasn't a time for me to, push past all those limits and, you can win and you can. I had to use wisdom along with that. Be wise, be smart. You know your body. Okay. And if you have to back off a little bit. Tomorrow's another day. Okay. Live to fight another day. So when I started to feel some other symptoms, okay, maybe a little bit of that anxiety came back. Okay, because of the first initial thought of the anxiety, it did come back and it did set in. And I said, you know what? Let's go back to the basics, Joe. What was working for you? The hot liquids was working for you. What was doing it for you? Making sure you're sleeping in an upright position. Making sure you're not taking in too much caffeine, which I've completely given up. On the coffee right now. You know, make sure that you're not overexerting yourself. Make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing as far as what happens of what got you through the first week, the second week, and the third week. Okay, so understand this. Don't take your foot off the gas here. Just keep it steady. Slow and steady wins the race. Okay, keep it constant. Keep it straight ahead. Because I spoke to somebody yesterday who was very, very fearful. Okay, this person hit me up and they said, "Listen, I'm having some difficulty breathing. Um, I have a severe headache. I don't know what's going on." Okay, and the first thing I did was say, "Listen, I'm not a medical doctor. Okay, I'm not a medical doctor. So what I want you to do first is call your doctor. After that, she's probably going to instruct you if you don't feel well, or he's going to instruct you if you don't feel well, then to make sure you do, to make sure you take the right steps. Call the hospital first, okay, and then go over to the hospital if you can't get control of your breathing." When I first reached out after having COVID-19, I was having difficulty breathing, and my doctor said to me, "Listen, I don't think it's necessary for you to go right now. We're talking. We're having a good conversation. I can hear, some labored breathing, but I don't think it's necessary for you to go right now. Now, that decision would have ultimately been up to me, even if it was my doctor. My doctor's not here in the room. My doctor doesn't know exactly what I'm feeling. If I feel like I had to go to the hospital, then I would have gone to the hospital. That's what I'm going to tell you to do. If you feel as if you can't get control of it after what your doctor has told you, after the little remedies that I have told you, the breathing techniques and things like that, then please do what you're supposed to do. Call the hospital. Go get the right things that you need to get done. Get the right treatment. Okay, do anything that you can, because the longer you stay in that fear, okay, the longer you stay in that sense of anxiety, your situation is probably going to worsen. Okay, now if you have a positive mentality, if you have a great mentality, if you have a strong sense of urgency to get through this thing, then you'll calm yourself down. Okay, and that's exactly what I had to do. I had to go back to my meditation techniques, back to my breathing techniques, and calm myself down, because I didn't want to let that anxiety get ahead of me and get out of control and start to take over me. Now, you may not have that capability. You may not have that training. You may not have that ability to do that. But what I'm saying to you right now today is that you can attain that. You can get that if you just practice it daily, daily, daily. So my week 4 overall was great. My week 4 was productive. I felt better about myself. I was up and around, moving a little bit more. But again, I also took it slow because of some readings of mine. I saw that it might read up to 4 to 8 weeks. Okay, up to 2 to 4 weeks, up to 4 to 6 weeks. Everybody's going to be different. So understand your body's going to react different. You're going to handle things differently. Don't panic. Don't panic. All right. I spoke to some other people who were testing, and they tested positive for COVID-19, and then they tested negative for COVID-19, and then they tested positive for COVID-19 again. Now, in between those processes, throughout my research and throughout my understanding of speaking to doctors and speaking to, and looking online and reading some information, you know, it's sort of understood that after that first bout of COVID, after that first 3-4 week thing, you're no longer contagious after that point. Now, don't mark my words on that, because why? This is all new to everyone. What are you supposed to do? You're going to remain in a certain risk area. A person that I know has um, been tested positive for COVID-19. He tested negative and he posted it. I spoke to him yesterday, but his doctor also said, listen, you're still in a high risk category. Okay. Don't take your foot off the gas. Ride this thing out. Have patience. Do what you're supposed to do and make sure you're handling it the right way. Okay. And that way it'll start to take away some of your anxieties. All right. One thing I want to talk to you about today is me going for a retest. Okay. I'm scheduled for retesting tomorrow. Thank God. Thank God. I'm scheduled for retesting tomorrow. I'm excited to see what the test is going to say. And as soon as I have the results, I'll let you guys know exactly how that went. But I feel good. Okay. I feel great about it. I feel confident about it. I feel better about it. I don't feel 100%. I'm going to tell you that right now, but I'm in the 90 percentile. I'm good. I'm good. I think it's fair to say that Joe Hammond has overcome this thing, but I'm going to get the final test for you guys tomorrow. And then once I have those results, I'll make sure I let you guys know. Retesting. Okay. You're going to hear a whole bunch of different things about people being retested, about how some people are not being retested. Some people are returning to work and without being retested. Some people are, doing things that they're going back to their normal life. It's true. Some doctors have stated that it's not necessary to be retested. Some doctors have stated that it might be necessary to be retested according to what your line of work is, according to what you do, or according to your risk factor. I'm in the high risk factor. Okay, I'm in the high risk category, so it's a little bit more challenging for me. I have to make sure I do things the right way. Right. So that's the reason why I'm going to get retested. I'll be back in, because I'm back in law enforcement. I'm dealing back with people. I'm dealing back in the public. So it kind of makes sense, for me to get retested. And as soon as that happens, I will let you guys know. All right. Let me see real quick if I have any questions. Anybody have any questions? Chat them out to me right now. I got to put the glasses on. This. Thank you for coming out, cousin. How are you? Yvonne, how's everything? Debbie, thank you. Kathy, Lisa, Justin, Melissa, what's going on, baby? How are you? Mike, I see that you couldn't make it out. But hopefully you'll check out this video later, Mike, and you'll get through it with me together. Listen, continue, people. Okay, stay exactly where you are. Okay, continue taking the right steps as far as your precautions. Don't panic. Don't get into a mode where we can't function. Don't get into the social media, the hype, the hype of the mainstream media. Just realize that we can overcome this, and you can overcome this. To those of you who are still in the hospital, hopefully you're able to see or watch, or maybe you could share this with somebody. Just keep fighting. Just keep fighting. Please keep fighting, and understand that you can overcome this, but you're going to have to fight. You're going to have to fight. I spoke to a family member of someone who came out of the hospital yesterday who was on a ventilator for 6 weeks. Okay. And he came home. Thank God. So if you're able to share this with somebody who's struggling, if you're able to share this with somebody who's going through, just let them know that you can beat this if you just continue to fight. All right. I'm Joe Hammond, your boy, Joe JH Overcomes. Let's see. I got a question here. Can you, let's see. Can you describe the testing procedure, brother, for those that don't know? Yes, that's the question from Julian. Yes, the testing procedure, as far as being tested for COVID. Um, what I did was, again, I started to feel the symptoms. I called my doctor. My doctor told me exactly what to do. I went to what's the clinics? The urgent care. I took myself and my daughter to an urgent care, and we went to get tested. Now, what we had to do first, I called them first. I sent my email information. I emailed my insurance card and things like that. And everything. They took down all the information, and they said, okay, you can start heading over, and we will call you. Okay, just come over to the parking lot. We'll call you when it's okay to come up. So at that point, we pulled up to the back door of the facility. The doctor came out, in full hazmat gear, uh, walked up to the car and swabbed us. And when I say swab, what they do is they take a long cotton swab, and they go into your nasal passages, both sides, and they just take a sample from your nasal passages. At that point, it's that simple. Okay, you pull up. The testing procedure takes about maybe 30 seconds. Okay, it took about 30 seconds to a minute for myself and my daughter. And then we pulled off, we went back home, and that was the end of it. So we waited for the results to come back. They sent the results out, and that was the end of it. So that's pretty much the testing procedure. Now tomorrow, when I go to get retested, I'm expecting the same thing. I don't know if I haven't been retested. I haven't spoken to anybody as far as the procedure goes, but I'm guessing the procedure is the same. And from what I understand, results are coming back a lot quicker. When I first went, it was 3-4 days. It took me almost a week to get my test results back. My daughters came back sooner, but for me, it took about a week or so. For whatever reason, it took that long to get my results back. So just understand that the testing procedures, there's more and more testing procedures, testing facilities popping up all over the place. There's also more and more people who are getting tested and getting their results the same day. Okay, so this thing is moving along. We are getting that process along, moving that process along better. All right, hopefully that answers your question, sir. Anything else? Anybody else with any questions? Okay, God bless you, Joe. Getting retested, the way to go. I'm a high risk factor. I hope your test comes back negative. Lori, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lori. Lori, I understand you're a nurse, and I would like to, once this is all over, reach out and see if I could bring you on, so that way you can offer some information, offer some help to people who are not on the front lines every day. Okay, and that's something that we're losing also. We are, and Yvonne, I see your question. We are not, um, we're not understanding it. We're losing touch because we're not on the front lines every day. But you nurses and you hospital workers and you people who are seeing it every day, okay, you guys where it's in your face every single day, it's super challenging for you. It's super challenging for you. And it's almost like law enforcement. When law enforcement, they'll say a lot of times that we ride around, eating donuts and, doing things that we're not supposed to be doing, but you don't see the behind the scenes. You don't see the things that go on in a day-to-day job of a law enforcement officer. And right now, we're not seeing what goes on in the day-to-day life of a nurse. Okay, it's so much different. It's very different when you are in the face of the monster. Okay, so you nurses out there, thank you so much. And Lori, be safe. And if you do have a chance, we'd like to speak to you later on, maybe next week, and see if we can get some information from you. Okay. Next question: are you getting the antibody test? I'm not getting the antibody test, and I'll tell you why. I'm on medications. I'm on a bunch of different things um, that go along with that. So unable to give blood. I'm unable to do a lot of things that certain people are able to do. And I'm not going to be giving the antibody test or doing the antibody test because I can't give anything that's going to my numbers will come back wrong because of all the medications and things like that I'm on. But if that changes for some reason, Yvonne, if that comes back different, then I will definitely let you know. And that's something I will definitely be interested in doing. However I can help, I'm more than willing to help. All right. Hopefully that answers your question. Anybody else? Any other questions? If not, we are going to get out of here. I told you I don't like to be before you long. Lisa, how are you? Thank you for all the work that you're doing over at the hospital. And Lisa also says here, hope you're feeling better. I'm back at work after 3 weeks. Positive, but feeling great now. Stay healthy and safe. Okay, so Lisa is somebody who has recovered and she's back to work. She tested positive and now she's back to work, and that's a great thing. Good for you, Lisa. Thank you so much. I know you work at the hospital. Please be safe over there, and thank you so much for what you're doing. Okay, you as well. And if there's anything that you can offer as far as coming up next over the next couple of weeks, please let me know. All right, let me know. I'd love to share with you. I'd love to share with everybody else. All right. Okay. That's it. All right, people. Thank you so much for coming out. Again, I'm Joe Hammond, JH Overcomes, America's friendliest cop. If you need me, okay, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. If I can't help you, I'll point you in the right direction. I promise you that. And until then, peace. I'll see you when I see you.